Hello, welcome back to the Non-Normie Club. This is a new episode. Sorry for the delay. I had some things going on last week. So this week we're gonna talk about love because it's Valentine week. So let's start with how we see or how love is presented to us. So most of us probably were taught by our parent that we need to find somebody to get married with, otherwise we're gonna die alone. And that is exactly what my mom taught me. But I try to be normal and have that life. As I dated a few people, I just get tired of just the compromising part. Like they like something, you don't like it, but you have to give up one thing to compromise with them. For example, what I mean by that is that, let's say, if you like to go hiking and the other person doesn't like to go hiking, they are huge foodies, so every time they take you out, you just go try a new restaurant or something. So, you know, you have to compromise with them and say, this week we can go to, one of your food festival, but next week we're gonna go hiking. It's not something that I enjoy all the time. So just situation like that, or like how they expect something from you when they do something for you. For example, if my boyfriend helped me move into a new apartment and then he said that, well, I helped you move today, like, can you give me a kiss or can we go out for dinner together? It's just that whole cycle of you keep having to do that back and forth with someone and being married with them for, say, 10 years, 20 years. Just that constant cycle. It does not work for me. I am asexual. I don't need to be bonding with another person. I don't care for sex. I don't care for their attention. I don't want that type of love. And you know, by saying this, it does not make me a narcissist. It's just that I I I love myself too much to give up my freedom to compromise with someone. What I mean by that is that I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to compromise with the other person. I don't need to ask like, "Oh, honey, are you okay with this restaurant? I want to eat here. Is this food okay with you?" Just that type of stuff. And just waiting on them, just say, "Oh, we need to go out in an hour," and then they take like another hour just getting ready. I just don't like that type of dynamic. It's not for me. But some people, whether they seek validation, which is such as if a guy had to tell them. So this is a true story. I do have a manager that's constantly seeking validation. So I was on a team with four other guys, and this female manager, she's always picking on me, and I don't understand why. Like, okay, so I thought it's just that I don't follow her, whatever. She trying to push onto me because she used her power to make me do, like, I have my own way of doing sale call, and then she wanted me to do it her way. But there was nothing wrong with my way. I was meeting my quota and everything, but she's just particularly picking on me. Now, this is the main part right here is that the boys on the team, they always say like, "Oh, hi, Melissa. You look nice today." And it's like you say that multiple day, but like they have the same hairstyle, they wear the same makeup. So it's because she liked the validation from them saying, "Oh, Melissa, you look nice today. Oh, I understand that I will do it your way." So first she seek power over men, and then she they give her validation that she looks nice or something like that type of dynamic. But that is very toxic in the long run because it's like a dopamine drug that you just constantly have to get. Like, for example, you always need somebody to say, "Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, I want to have sex with you because you're so hot." I have a housemate that is that type. She would go out and meet some random guy, and then she would come home and just tell me and my other friend, who we were both queer and on the spectrum, so we don't really see it as like, the way that like she's better than us in terms of like beauty. So this person, let's just call her Jess, is like she think that, well, she always tried to get validation, like comparing herself to us and saying that she's the prettiest out of all of us. So whenever she meet a new guy, she would be like, "Oh, what he said was beautiful." Or like, for example, in a group setting where we go out to the bar with her, and somebody flirt with her, she would just be like extra about and say that, like I'm the best one out of all of you two or out of this group or something like that. So it is people, certain type of people. I'm not saying this applies to everyone, that you seek constant validation. So they move from relationship to relationship. Once that validation stop, once they stop saying, "Oh, you look nice today. Oh, you're beautiful," all couple times a day, and then they get just like, "Oh, I need more of that dopamine. So who can I get it from? I need that compliment, that sex, and all that stuff." So then they get into the zero dating habit. So at that point, you're just looking for pleasure, such as friend with benefit. You know, it's it's not like this. Okay, so that's one type. So let's talk about another type, and it's a very subtle that not many people notice, but it is very toxic too. I'm going to talk about that because it's my personal experience with my parent. Guys, you don't need to look far to see what type of relationship is toxic. You can just learn so much from watching your parent over the year. So my father, he's a just he just never done enough to support the family. He just act like he's working. He barely provide. He just do the bare minimum. My mother had to work two jobs to support the family. So whenever I mentioned that he's not doing enough for the family, he would say these things like, "Oh, well, I brought you and your mother to America and all that stuff, so you guys should be grateful to me." That is not love. That is blackmailing. That is extortion. This You're using something to hold someone to you, and like my parent are like trauma bonded because they both grew up in a poor family. So whenever I say certain things, they would just tell me, "Oh, you don't understand what it means to be poor," and you know, but it's just that dynamic of it. You guilt trip someone to be with you, like my father, who guilt trip my mom every time. So that's toxic. It is also toxic that you're using someone and you're doing the bare minimum, but you're using them to provide for you, even though, you pretend to work and cope. So in that, I wonder if that dynamic, that how I see it often, is that either the guy or the girl, they just want it to be like one sided where they barely provide anything and you give them unconditional love. And I just thought that, why would you do that? It's such a like such a waste of your time to be attached to somebody like that. But like I say, those type of people who constantly seeking validation and those type of love, they have a fear of being looked down on if they're not in a relationship with someone. If they are getting older and they're not in a relationship, that society is going to judge them. So it's all about image. And then this this abusive relationship where you're just stuck in it because you're scared to leave. Your life might be in danger if you leave that person. But there's also people who get turned on by the abuse. There was someone, she told me that she's still attracted to her ex who hit her, just something about him that, you know, is like weird, but you can be drawn to that too. So, next time you see somebody, maybe they have a kink for that. So it's not that they're in a forced it thing, which is interesting, and then there was never, I was wondering that in a relationship, is there a balance? Because I'm open to having a relationship, but I want to have a balance. It is very hard to find because it's always one person giving more than the other person, or it's just like they're just not like they would be in it for the wrong reason. Just like I need to find somebody because I have to find somebody. Not, or like you might be their second choice, not their first choice. So the main point in all these type of relationship is this: until you learn how much you're worth, until you learn how much you love yourself, and that you have hobby, any kind of hobby. I like to write fan fiction, fantasy novel, fantasy world, something like that. You are you need to find that because it is extremely unhealthy to do serial dating where you're just seeking that constant dopamine from being in a relationship with someone. It is like a drug. You don't have a purpose in life. You're just seeking validation from one person after another. And, so it's okay if you're not into the whole relationship things like me. Other people can be if that's whatever makes them happy, but it is not a necessity. So unless you you can see how much you're worth to yourself, then then people like who are constantly seeking validation, like my former friend Jess and my manager Melissa, they will never be happy. They will never be truly happy. They just thought that they're happy, that they find that temporary person, but that constant seeking validation, and then the other person get tired of it over time, and it's gonna it's not gonna work out. Then they're gonna have to go to the next person. Now, I do see a good relationship. And that is my ideal relationship, and this is my ideal relationship. So I met a friend of my friend, and this is his cousin. So his cousin is, before I say this, okay, first of all, it is not about the occupation of these two people. Yes, they're well off, but that's not the point. The point is the dynamic and how they split their responsibility, and how they are they don't need to be like feel obligated toward someone, such as my mom feeling obligated to my father who brought us to America, and she had to do everything, like get him everything that he wants. Like if he want to buy a new Apple Watch, she would get it for him. Otherwise, he's gonna cry and say, guilt trip her with that again. And then I mean, so this ideal couple that I met, both of them are lawyers, and so they both have money. So money is, important in your relationship, because people should not be having children if they cannot save up to support that child. People just like doesn't think about these things, and then they have a child, and it's just, you feel bad for the child because it's going to end up in the government program because people are being irresponsible. So, anyways, so my point is that, so these two couple, they they both lawyer, and so they have both stable income. But even though the guy is a lawyer, he he still do his work, and then when he come home, he's he still do his wife and his laundry. Now versus I have a friend who have an office job too, and her husband have an office job too. But when her husband come home, this guy just go play video game. She have to do the cooking, dishwashing, and then she have to take care of the baby. So it's that type of dynamic that even though you both have jobs, you need to both share home chore too. Not just one person go to both of you go to work, not just both of you go to work, and then one of you do the house chore and the other one just get to have fun. So, you know, the point is that while everybody else is running around trying to get into these toxic relationship and they don't know why it doesn't work out, but it's just come down to that we were taught wrong by our parent, is that we need to go seek love from someone instead of finding love in ourselves. That you need to have a hobby, you need to do what you like, what you love. It doesn't have to be a person. It can literally be a hobby. Don't over extravagate on that. If you wanted to rethink that, or if you just asexual, you're not interested in any relationship at all, like me, you just want to enjoy your single life, that's fine. You find the way you are. Society might look down on you because that is not the norm. They expect you to be dating, get married, and have children, but it's not for everybody. And if you're still single and you still want to be with that someone, don't rush into it. And that's just okay. So this is another point that I forgot to bring up, so I'm going to say it. um, that when you just finding the right person take time. Finding pleasure, you can go on Tinder to find that. So when you say certain things like, "Oh, I've been dating like 8 people and none of them work out," it's because you were rushing into it just to play catch up with other people. What I mean by that is that, for example, people at work, they always make it seems like, "Oh, it's great to have a family and children. You're missing out." You know, it's like, I'm not missing out. And trust me, from watching my parent for 30 years of my life, I am not rushing into that marriage. Like, I just saw how horrible it is to just be someone like my mother who just feel certain guilt or in the drama bonding with with my dad who's just done nothing for her besides bringing us to America. That's it. And that was he thinks it's all his responsibility. So, if you are traumatized, don't rush into things. Real relationship take time. So it might take you 5 years to find the right person. That's fine. And sometimes people just say that, you know, you shouldn't give up on love. I never say that. I'm still open to it. If it's the right relationship that I'm looking for, that's the thing. If it's the right type of relationship that I'm looking for, it's not that I'm close myself to it. But people just want you to look like to make themselves look like they're normal. That you need to get married and have kids by 30, and then they just see you as being weird. That you're not there yet. But what you're doing is that you're making the smarter choice of being selective and not just picking up whatever that is at the bar. And you're gonna have a baby, and then you can't take care of it. You make more bad decisions down the road. So real meaningful relationship is not rushed. If you meant to meet that person, then you will. Don't try to force it by going on dating app or like just constantly dating people at work, people at school. It's like slow down, people. You're not. Oh my god. It's yeah. The way normies people do these things and they just constantly rushing into one relationship after another. That's to me, that's just like suicidal. And I just don't have time or wanna go through that. So, you know, if you don't have anybody to celebrate Valentine's Day with, just remember that you need to find yourself and that you need to find your self worth or find a new hobby that you enjoy. Just let us not try to focus and pour all energy into finding a soulmate because we feel lonely or desperate because that is just not healthy. You'll you'll find the right person eventually. It's just take time. In the meantime, learn how to love yourself. Get a hobby that you really enjoy. And that's how you keep yourself positive and healthy. So that's what I learned through watching my parent relationship, watching other people relationship, and being in a relationship myself. That's conclude this episode. Thank you for listening.